Hey guys, welcome to Feel the Fear TV. This YouTube channel is for those of you who understand the importance of using your fear and anxiety to drive you forward in life rather than allowing it to hold you back. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and click the notifications bell, and then you'll be notified of any new videos that come onto the channel. And as always, I'm sure some of you know people who are struggling with their mental health or who are just into personal development or spiritual growth. Again, please can we ask that you share this video so that we spread the importance of how to diminish fear in your body, because that's what anxiety is. It is just fear. That's all it is, simple. Just fear is anxiety. It's just adrenaline and cortisol flowing through your body. But it just makes us feel so overwhelmed, so scared, so helpless. And as you know, what we are talking about on this YouTube channel are strategies taken from Susan's amazing book, Dr. Susan Jeffers. She wrote this over 30 years ago. It's changed the lives of millions. So grab yourself a copy or, go to the library and really use this book to help you diminish the fear so that your mental health improves. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, today I just quickly want to share a couple of examples from the book of how easy it is to give away our power and to give it to somebody else. And what that means is we put ourselves in a helpless state by wishing and hoping that something else was different or that another person would change. And when we do that, it just puts us in the place of being a victim and we're powerless. And so once we realize that we have to take responsibility for our life, which means making some tough decisions, some tough choices, moving out of our comfort zone, taking a risk, albeit a calculated one, when we realize that we can do that and we can handle the consequences, then that's when life gets amazing. So I'm going to read from chapter 4, which is, as you know, one of my favorite chapters in the book. And I'm going to be giving the examples from page 50 of this edition. There are lots of editions of this book because it's been published continually for over 30 years. But this is the 20th anniversary edition. So let's look at the examples that Susan gives. So there's Madeline. Well, it certainly was my husband's fault that the last 25 years of my life have been so miserable. So I'm sure you are surrounded or know somebody that maybe does talk like that. Maybe you talk like that. And it's not a good place to be because we are giving away our power, because what we're saying is if only he or she would be different, then my life would be better. So what Susan says is to help you shift into the more higher self part of you, the more responsible part of you, we have to ask Madeline some tough questions. Why did you choose to stay? She could have left at any point. Why couldn't you take in any of the nice things he did for you instead of only finding fault? Why are you so filled with anger that he finds it impossible to communicate with you? So, not many people like taking responsibility because it means they have to earn their own stuff and they have to look at their own fears as to why they're allowing a situation to happen. And Susan later in the book talks about payoffs. So there will be payoffs for Madeline staying in that relationship or staying in that marriage. There will be financial payoffs. There will be emotional payoffs, physical payoffs. So once we are willing to look at our payoffs and realize that they are just fears, then we can choose to be in a more empowered state. So let's look at David. Well, it certainly was my son's fault that I've grey hair from worrying about him. So again, David's blaming his son for how unhappy he is. And I've heard people around me do that. If only they would behave, my life would be better. If only they didn't cause me pain, my life would be better. But like we say to David, why didn't you believe that he would find his own way? Why did you always need to rescue him? Why did you make him so much an extension of yourself that you expected too much from him? Why couldn't you just let him be who he is? And this is a challenge that many people have with their children. They expect their children to behave in a certain way, but that's not real life. The children are going to behave in the way that they, feel that they want to behave. And we've just got to trust and guide them as best as we can. But at the end of the day, we've got to allow them to make their own choices. And sometimes we don't like them making their own choices because maybe we can see that the pain is coming. But as we know, we grow through pain. That's how we learn, through feeling something painful. We don't do do it again. So sometimes we just have to trust our children, even if they're adult children, will find their own way and will learn how to handle the situation, maybe make better life choices next time. And all we can do is just be there to love, offer, support, but allow them to go on their own journey. Tony, probably some of you will relate to Tony. Well, it certainly is the fault of the job market that I'm stuck in this lousy job. I used to deliver Feel the Fear for many years in organisations, in helping employees become more positive and engage better in the workplace. And, I would make a point of saying, a lot of you here on this workshop will be a Tony. You will be blaming the job that you're so unhappy. But I don't see the handcuffs around, your arm and the table leg, the desk leg. You can move at any point, but of course, there's payoffs. When we think about moving jobs, we get scared. So let's say to Tony, well, why can't you see that others are finding jobs, even if the job market is so poor? Remember, this book was written 30 years ago. It isn't written in these times, it was written 30 years ago. So we always believe that the job market is poor. Why are you not creating more satisfaction in the job you already have? Why aren't you even trying to find a new job? Why are you not asking for what you want in the job you are already in, instead of constantly complaining that nothing is right? Why aren't you committed to doing the best you can do? So again, some tough questions, but maybe Tony needs to be asked some tough questions. And the point is, guys, is once we realise that we can handle being asked these tough questions, sit back and reflect and admit that we're scared, admit that we feel vulnerable, then that's where the true power lies. Because when we can sit in our vulnerability and admit that we're scared, then what we can do is realise that we're at a choice point. We can choose then to make some different choices, or we can choose not to make the different choice, knowing that it's fear that's keeping us stuck. And that's all it is, it's just fear, false evidence appearing real. Finally, Alice. Well, it certainly is my children's fault that I'm not moving ahead in a career. So again, Alice is blaming the fact that she's a mum and that she can't move ahead in a career. And, I've been a single parent now for like 12 years. 4 of those have been a full-time single parent. And so, I could totally be an Alice and say, well, I can't, I've got to be this parent. But even if you do 2 hours a day on your own career, or you work on a weekend at your own career, or you work when they're asleep at your own career, or you start a training course, when they're, sitting and watching YouTube, you're sat doing your training. I did a master's degree, 3 years ago, and it was hard, and I had to sit up till midnight some nights, but I did it to get it finished so that I had the degree. Why haven't you noticed that others with children are going ahead with their careers and their children are doing fine? Why haven't you taken up others' offers to help you with the kids if you want to work? Why haven't you made any effort to gain some skills that would really help you get a job you would love? And I think the key there, guys, is the word effort. It does take effort. And again, that's a choice. Do we want to put that effort into our life or don't we? That's your choice. Susan says, finally, if you are feeling some pain from identifying with any of the stories above, then good. It simply pinpoints an area on which you have to work. The point to remember is that when you blame any outside force for any of your experience of life, you are literally giving away all of your power, thus creating pain, paralysis, and depression. So maybe take a step back after this video, and over the next couple of days, just have a think about, who are you blaming for what's going on in your life? What are you blaming for what's going on in your life? But then reclaim back some of that power and say, actually, what can I do right now to change things? How can I take a little step forward to change my current situation? And what I found in my life is I didn't know what the end outcome was going to be. So, for example, when I chose to file for divorce, I didn't know where I was going to live, whether I was going to have my son with me or not, whether, what job I was going to do to support myself, whether I could support myself. All I did was I took the next step. So, for example, I rang a solicitor and said, where do I stand? So often we don't know the outcome. We don't know how it's going to end. We've just got to trust that we can take it step by step and handle each part of the journey. And that's why the affirmation, I can handle it, is so powerful, because we have to tell ourselves that we can. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to share if you can see that other people are blaming a situation and they've given away all the power. And I'll see you on the next video.